You wake up and your hands are stiff and almost feel like disabled. Your joints hurt. It hurts to get out of bed. It takes a few seconds for your feet to want to walk, even. Your shoulder's been doing something weird for months, and you've been quietly Googling arthritis at 38, wondering if this is just your life now, wondering if you can no longer sit at your desk job, or if your physically demanding job is just too much. Or the frozen shoulder story. Referral to PT, no hormone conversation, no mention of potential perimenopause or effects of hormones on said body. Because a 40-year-old with frozen shoulder is just a 40-year-old with frozen shoulder, there surely isn't any hormonal connection, and definitely not perimenopause because you're too early, too young. Name the dismissal, name the shrug, the ibuprofen recommendation, the anti-anxiety, anti-depression meds, the well-meaning but completely unhelpful suggestions that are coming to you from a provider who is uneducated on hormones and perimenopause. I want to tell you something that nobody told me. Estrogen is deeply involved in your joint health, your cartilage, your bone density, and your muscle mass. I mean, and everything else too, if you've watched any of my other videos, but yes. And it's serious. And when it starts fluctuating, your whole entire musculoskeletal system, aka your body, your muscles, your joints, your cartilage, your tendons, feel it. It's not aging. This is a hormone story for my uterus-bearing individuals. So, quick orientation for anybody new. Perimenopause can and often does start in your 30s. Anybody tells you otherwise, leave. Joint symptoms can too. You are not imagining it, and it's not that you're just getting old. Most people think of estrogen as a reproductive hormone, and it is so much more than that. It has receptors throughout your entire body, your musculoskeletal system, and it is doing 3 specific jobs there that nobody talks about. 1, keeping inflammation down. Critical. Estrogen actively suppresses inflammatory pathways throughout your body. When it starts to fluctuate, in which we've talked about, it's like a roller coaster. There's no straight decline in perimenopause. That suppression gets inconsistent. Your joints start to ache, feel stiff, swelling becomes noticeable, and that seems to come out of nowhere for no reason. Job two of estrogen in your musculoskeletal system is protecting cartilage. Estrogen receptors exist in cartilage tissue, and estrogen helps maintain its integrity. Estrogen is so important, ladies, uterus-bearing individuals. When it declines, cartilage begins to break down and it accelerates. This is why joint pain in perimenopause can feel different from post-workout soreness, which is what I was feeling that day in my bed when nothing alleviated the pain that I thought was the pain that I'd felt before. It's not wear and tear, it's hormones withdrawing. Job 3, estrogen. Job 3, musculoskeletal system. Supporting bone density. Also didn't know this. This one gets more airtime, but it belongs alongside the others. Bone density loss accelerates significantly with the perimenopause transition, not gradually over decades, but in a concentrated window, right? Then, something we haven't talked about yet, but it's one of my favorites, is testosterone. It supports muscle mass, and muscle protects bone. And when both estrogen and testosterone begin to fluctuate at the same time, guess what? Your musculoskeletal system pays the price, aka your muscles, your body, your bones, your joints, etc. And it's getting hit in all sorts of directions. And that is the full picture that most women are never given. Why? The 7 symptoms in the musculoskeletal system. Joint pains, hands, knees, hips, shoulder, no injury. You wake up and you're like, I I didn't do anything. Yes. Like, I don't understand. No overuse explanation, just inflammation from hormones fluctuating in your joints. This is documented and almost never connected to perimenopause in a doctor's office. 2, morning stiffness. That feet on the floor, oh my God, I don't feel like my feet want to move. This hurts. This is painful. That first stretch of the day when everything feels locked up and then slowly loosens over time as you move around. Classic perimenopause pattern, often attributed to early arthritis before anybody asks about hormones. You're right. Yeah, before anybody asks. Muscle aches. You feel like you worked out hard when you didn't do anything. A general heaviness and soreness that exists without explanation, seemingly in your body. This one gets swallowed up by fatigue and stress, and nobody flags it as hormonal. Frozen shoulder. So many women come and talk about this. And my sister just messaged me the other day indicating that she was dealing with it, and she's 6 years my junior, so she's 41. Frozen shoulder. This one deserves its own movement, own moment, own conversation. Adhesive capsulitis is strongly associated with the perimenopause transition at the clinical level. The connection is documented, but it's almost never communicated. If you have had it or know somebody who's had it, this is the moment where everything starts to connect. Bone loss and osteopenia, or the bone density conversation. This usually shows up after menopause, but loss accelerates during the transition, aka perimenopause. This is the window where intervention matters the most and where it is least often discussed. Fracture risk. 1 in 2 women will break a bone due to osteoporosis in their lifetime. It's terrible. Hip fractures carry a 1 in 15 to 20% increased mortality within a year. The older you get, the more likely you are to die because you broke your hip. That is the downstream reality of untreated bone loss that starts in perimenopause. Lastly, 7, reduced muscle mass, sarcopenia, driven by testosterone decline. Have you ever talked to your doctor about that? Probably not. Less muscle means less protection for the bone, more vulnerability to injury, and it compounds with everything else in this category in a way that matters. What can we do? What can you do? What do I do? Resistance training. Not talking CrossFit intensity unless it's already your thing or that's something you want to get into. I've done it, did it for years, loved it. Not doing it right now. I don't feel like it's the best course of action for my body. But strategic, progressive resistance work that challenges the muscle without spiking your cortisol. My relationship with exercise has had to change as I've gotten older because I've had to deal with, lack of desire and all the symptoms of perimenopause. And I realized that long, intense walks with bouts of like faster walking are amazing. And lifting heavy weights at home, heavy dumbbells at home, has been amazing. And I don't have to go to the gym. I have an aversion to the gym, which is bizarre. And I think I just need to reopen my own gym again. Anyway, resistance training, lifting heavy things, jumping, impact training for bone density. Protein. Most of us don't get enough. Period. End of story. And perimenopause women tend to significantly undereat for reasons we'll discuss later, but muscle mass maintenance requires more than general guidelines on the amount of protein that you consume. I'm on a GLP-3 for lots of reasons. Therefore, I'm shooting for 1 gram of protein per ideal pound of body weight, which is 160. I could eat more than that. I struggle to get 160. I'm working on it. It is a constant daily thing. There are different numbers depending on what you're doing and your goals. Anti-inflammatory food. This is real. Chronic low grade, why can't I talk? Chronic low grade inflammation is a perimenopause reality. And food is one of the most direct levers. Nobody wants to talk about food because it's like our comfort. We love food. But what are you eating? What are you not eating? What have you cut out? What has made a noticeable difference? For me, I cannot do seed oils. I can't eat fried food from restaurants. I have to be very careful about what I consume. Um, I have a gluten intolerance or allergy. I don't eat gluten, period. End of story. I don't eat a lot of processed grains at all. I feel better that way. Have I added back in some? Yes. Do I test the theory? Yes. Have I become meat averse as I've moved into perimenopause? Yeah, strangely, because I love a carnivore diet. I'm struggling with a lot of the meat. So I make up for it somewhere else. Um, Vitamin D and K2. I've had to take a real hard look at myself and increase my vitamin D. I think that it is drastically affecting my mood. When you look at supplements, look for actual third party tested vitamins. If you don't know what that means or you need help, message me. So the bone density conversation is incomplete without talking about vitamin D and vitamin K. Vitamin D for absorption, K2 to direct calcium to the bones and other areas. D and K work together, D and K2. I take vitamin D, I take a B complex, I take vitamin C, I take all sorts of things, and it's constantly like I'm changing things up after I finish taking something for a couple of months to see how it affects my body. I have found the best results with my food, with peptides, and with HRT, period, end of story. Peptides for recovery, peptides for gut health. If you're trying to recover from a musculoskeletal injury, there's a lot of good peptides out there. Also taking HRT, making sure that I'm monitoring the amount of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone that I'm getting. I'm always curious, I'm always researching, and I'm always writing things down. Yes, Googling in my 30s if I had arthritis, wondering if this was my life now, wondering if things were over, wondering if I was ever going to be able to run competitively again. It was my hormones, and nobody talked about it. Nobody knew. It wasn't a conversation. I felt like I was flailing in the wind as a personal trainer, throwing every doctor and medical office at it. Nothing I share here, medical advice. I am a coach, I'm a holistic nutrition student, and I'm a woman living this in real time. Next episode, one of my favorites, the progesterone story. God, do I love me some progesterone. When you wake up at 3, you can't get back to sleep. What is actually happening, and what can you do to help your body? Have you had joint pain? Have you had a frozen shoulder? Have you not been able to get relief from stretching in ways that you used to? I would love to know your story. I would love to know your questions. Hit me up. And girl, if you haven't done something to love yourself today, please go do that. And if you don't know what that looks like, send me a message. I'll help you out there too. All my love. Until next time.